Hi, today we are making peanut butter granola bars. No oven today, guys. It may not be shining like the sun's not shining as it was, but it's still pretty humid, and we wanted to give the ovens and you guys a break from that heat. So these are a really good treat to have. A, because you can make them your own, they're pretty versatile, and B, because there is no oven involved.
We've also got Imogen and Bethany with us.
Hiya.
And Tom loves the cookbook, by the way.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, I don't know if Mr. Boozy Bakers can find me a copy, but we did release a cookbook called Lockdown Baking with Boozy Bakers. Thank you. And it's got a number of our recipes in and loads of your pictures. If you can see those, I will bring it a bit nearer. So things like the sugar cookies with all your pictures in, and you can buy it off Amazon as an electronic copy or a hard copy. So do have a look at that if you would like to see more of our recipes. And of course, you can get them all on YouTube as well, so you can cook along with us still. Right, so I gave you a recipe list on the events page, which kind of broke it down. These peanut butter granola bars are very much about what you want to put in. So we said we had an amount of oats, which is 250 grams of ready or like fast oats or rolled oats. Then we had 200 grams of peanut butter. That can be smooth or crunchy, it doesn't matter. And you'll also need quite a lot, 170 grams of honey. And then the rest, I mean, we also said a teaspoon or teaspoon of cinnamon and a pinch of salt. If you don't like cinnamon, you could add something else or leave it out entirely. But then we said you want about 250 grams to 300 grams of whatever you would like. So we gave some examples of what we were using, but it could be peanuts, seeds, dried fruit, chocolate. We've given you what we're putting into our granola bars if you just want to do like for like, but it's putting in what you like. Right, brilliant. I'm going to push this forwards. Hopefully, does that... Oh, hang on, I haven't moved it yet.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
But people can see that without the comments. Yeah, right. So, into my bowl, I'm going to do the dry ingredients first before we add anything that's going to stick it together. So I've got 250 grams of ready oats, which I'm going to put into my bigger bowl. And to that, I'm going to add my teaspoon of cinnamon. And we're just going to add, it's all been weighed for me, so I know that's a teaspoon. But it's all the dry ingredients going in first. And a pinch of salt. Now you can just use a fine salt. I quite like having a bit more of thicker salt because I like those kind of pieces that you get. But just a pinch or a few grinds. I'll do on that. Keep putting things to the side. Are we all okay?
Yeah. Judy said what she's got, which is choc chips, almond flakes, chopped apricots and pumpkin seeds.
Yum. Yeah, I haven't got any seeds at the moment, but otherwise I think seeds are such a nice addition to this. If you're doing a mix and you can't decide how much to put in of each, again, I gave you what we were doing. So we were doing about a third of the chocolate, and then quite a few nuts to the coconut. That's about even. What was I going to say? It's completely gone. Dried fruit. Remember, that's quite sweet. So just try and balance it. But obviously, if you've got a sweet tooth, chuck it in. Right. So to the dried ingredients, I'm going to add my... I've got desiccated coconut and I've got flaked coconut. Now, the reason I've got both is for texture. So what you're biting into is just a little bit different. I'm actually going to chop the flaked up a little bit, but not as much as that. So my desiccated coconut, I've got 30 grams of that. I'm actually going to bring this forwards again so I can chop a few things. Ooh. So my peanut butter and my honey, I'm leaving to one side for a minute. Now, my flaked coconut, I'm just going to chop it very roughly, but I've got, oh, I don't know if you can see, I've got quite long pieces in there and it's just a bit too big. So I'm just going to use a knife and I'm going to rock it in that kind of motion along the board with my, if you've got children doing this, my fingers are well out of the way and I'm just going to rock it on the board so it actually never leaves the board. And just give that a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. Like so. Hang on, put my knife safely away. So I'm just going to tip that into my bowl. Ooh, breathe in, Michelle. Right, there we go. There we go. So that is the coconut now in there. If you are using something different, please do tell us. I'm now going to take my pistachios. Now they are quite small. I could leave it like that, but I do like it to look a bit pretty as well and be a bit more dispersed. So I'm going to just do the same again with my pistachios. And by chopping these up a bit, you get like a green tint that you will see within your granola bars. So again, just very roughly. If I don't catch them all, it's not a problem. Have we got any questions coming in? I don't know if I'm going a bit fast today.
No questions. Jamini's putting in cranberries into hers.
Oh yeah, lovely. I've got to say, I have been snacking on these a lot recently. And you can make them as healthy or as naughty as you like. Right, that's about done for me. So you can see the green from the pistachios there, which I quite like to see in my granola bars. So again, I'm going to tip that in. So I'm got to say as well, I'm really sorry for the silence in the week. I've not been doing my live videos for a bit. We have had a celebration this week of Mr. Boozy Baker's birthday. It's actually our anniversary today. So we thought we'd celebrate by making granola bars. So far, I've got 250 grams of ready oats. You can also use rolled. Then I've added a teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and then it's your choice of I would use about 250 to 300 grams of your flavourings. So far, I've put 30 grams of desiccated coconut, 30 grams of roughly chopped coconut flakes, and 70 grams of roughly chopped pistachios. I've not mixed anything yet. It's just all dry ingredients in my bowl, ready to go for later. I'm now going to add 100 grams of dark chocolate. I do think dark chocolate works well in this, but children may prefer lighter. I think that the saltiness and the dark chocolate and a bit of and the honey, it all goes very nicely together. But because if you've got chocolate chips, you don't need to do this. But because I've got kind of really big kind of chocolate button size, again, I'm just going to roughly chop them so they're not too massive. We've got questions coming in.
A lot of well wishing for our anniversary. So
thank you.
Rona's suggested she's using pistachios, almond, raisins, dried apricot, and choc drops.
Delicious. Yeah, I think what's good about this recipe is it just allows you to throw things in, A, that you like, and B, it's readily available in your cupboards. And I think pine nuts would go well. I think, pumpkin seeds would be beautiful. Cashew nuts. There's so many things that you could put in. I'm not a massive fan of dried fruit particularly, which is why I don't have anything in of that. But yeah, dried apricot, cranberries, sultanas, all of that would go beautifully in a granola bar. Right, quite happy with my chunks of chocolate there. Yes, 12 years of being Mr. and Mrs. Boozy Baker. Right, there we go. I don't think I need that anymore, actually. Can I hand that to you, please, sweetheart? Thank you. Just going to clean my hands up a bit. Bear with me. I mean, just chocolate melted on them slightly. Still quite warm in the kitchen, despite the lack of sunshine outside. I don't know where you are, but yeah, it's quite humid still in this kitchen. Now we'd work a lot with freeze-dried fruit. So I've got some freeze-dried raspberry pieces that I'm going to add to mine. There we go. Once you've got all your dry ingredients, so you might have different, we're going to add the wetter, stickier ingredients. So whilst it's dry, I'm just going to give it a stir, just so that it's thoroughly mixed before we group it together. If you can give me a thumbs up if you're there with your dry ingredients, that would be great.
So Imogen and Bethany are using coconut milk chocolate pieces and white chocolate buttons.
Yum!
And Tish has asked, would chopped fresh bananas or grapes work?
It will leave more moisture in. So fresh banana, it might immediately help with sticking the granola bar together, but it's quite wet. So you might need to alter your honey, the amount of honey you add, and also they won't keep for as long. If you put fresh ingredients in, just bear that in mind, that they're not going to have the same shelf life because they will start to go off. Yes, you can add things, but just watch your moisture content. You might need less honey, and obviously they won't keep for as long, so just eat up. Right. So I've just given that a nice thorough mix, so that I don't have a clump of one particular ingredient. I'm now going to add 200 grams of peanut butter. So I think the last lot I made, I used one with a crunch. This is entirely smooth. It really doesn't matter. It's just your preference. So that's my peanut butter in. And then honey. What I found, was it about 7 or 8 tablespoons it ended up, and it worked out about 170 grams. You might want to put in slightly less and mix it together. You kind of know when it's done because it starts to form a bit of a ball of granola dough, for want of a better word. So you might want to do it bit by bit. So I'm going to do 1, 2, I know it's about half of this jar anyway, so if I do 4, well, that was 4 big ones because that's going down somewhat, and then I'm going to give it a mix and see where we are as to how much more I need. So once you've got your peanut butter, which is 200 grams of peanut butter, and go for about 4 or 5 tablespoons of the honey, and give it a mix, and then you'll see I'll show you as well, but you'll see when it needs to have more. And of course, you haven't put anything in this that you couldn't taste as it is, so you could always taste test as you go along and see if it's to your liking. I think there's a really good balance that you get. You go from too much peanut butter, and I've gone the other way that I've put too much honey, and there's just an in-between, which I think is about our measurements. But I just like to always be a little bit cautious and do it bit by bit, because you can always add, but harder to take away. Got any questions coming in? So for anyone that's zoomed past me or anything, we're going to be putting this into about a 9-inch square tin. You don't have to use that size, but something which comes to about that. And then we did squares slices, didn't we? I think did we do 3x3 or 4x4 in that? Squares.
Just over 2x2.
2x2?
2x2 inches, yeah.
No, but I mean, sorry, well, domestic. I mean, how many slices did it make in that tin?
I thought it was about 16.
Was it 16 slices? 12 to 16 slices, depending how big your slices are. I did quite smaller ones. I did square rather than kind of your typical granola bar. But again, as you like, and how you store them as well. If you're taking them with you, you might find it easy to do longer. We're having comments about mine.
That's where every domestic we get happy anniversary, come on.
Right, so I'll show you where I am. It's coming together, as you can see, but there's quite a lot of the oats at the bottom still, and it's not really clumping together. So I'm going to add another 2 tablespoons, which will bring me up to 6, but I've done quite healthy size spoonfuls there, because I'm about halfway down my jar, which is about the 170 mark. So I know that cheesecake has been doing quite well recently on YouTube, and it's because it's no bake. So if you're hot in your kitchen and you're wanting to bake something, but you don't want to have the ovens on, do go, if you haven't already, go and have a look for our Boozy Baker workshop for cheesecake on YouTube. Now I've added that much honey, I am finding that there are no loose bits of oats left. It's not quite coming together yet. I'm going to give it a bit more of a stir. It might need 1 more tablespoon just to condense it. I don't know, maybe not. But basically what I'm looking for is for in the bowl, for it to start kind of joining together. We're going to press it into the tin, but at the same time, when I want it to be able to stay together, I don't want it to be too crumbly. So I'm just going to work with it a bit longer because it may be enough. As I said, you can always taste it and see how it's tasting. See, I think that tastes a bit dry still. I think it needs 1 more tablespoon of honey to really coat that. There we go. Which is what we came up with last time, wasn't it? So give that a big stir in. It will work your muscles stirring this in. It's pretty solid. It's very firm. Yeah, and that started to come together as a bit more of a ball now. It's sticking quite nicely together. It's following the shape of the spoon.
Graham has asked, can I mix with hands?
Yes, you can. Yeah. It will be a bit sticky. So one trick is actually, if you haven't put your hands in already, is you could always put a little bit of water on your hands and then mix it. If I'm ever working with marshmallow, that's what I do. Right, so that's, you can see how that is kind of following each other around the bowl now. It's, I can push that all together to make a bit of a ball of dough. Once you have got it to that point, if you get your tin, you can line this. I'm a bit lazy on this one because of the contents. I know that it's not going to stick. So I do tend to just put it straight into the tin. But if you want to put a bit of parchment or baking paper at the bottom, do so. But because it's quite a greasy, with the butter in it, it doesn't tend to stick for me. So you can see there, it's all coming out in kind of one big lot. Put that over there. Now you want to be able to push this evenly into your tin. So when you've got it all in, I'm going to use the back of a large spoon just to try and roughly put it in the right places and make it even. But in the equipment list I gave out, I did say it might be an idea to get something like a very straight-edged mug or something with a flat base to press it all down. And I've also listed clingfilm because, again, it's quite sticky, so it stops it all sticking together. We've done that before with the shortbread. We use clingfilm just to stop it from sticking to the equipment.
Judy's still mixing as honey was a bit stiff.
No problem.
Freya has said it's too dry. Don't want to add more honey. What else can you add?
You could do a little bit more peanut butter if you wanted to, if you don't want to have it too sweet. You just want a little bit of, you could go for a maple syrup, but again, if you're trying to avoid the sweetness of too much honey, but you want something that's going to stick together more. So I wouldn't go for water or anything like that to make it softer. You could try melted chocolate, but again, it's depending on why you want to put less. If you want less sweet, then I'd go peanut butter. That's probably the way to go. Right, I will show you where I've got to. I'm just going to scrape my spoon down. There we go. So I've spread it out. Can they see that? I'll put it up. I've spread it out in my tin. But it's not packed down yet, which is why I'm being a little bit careful how I hold it. So I'm going to get, now I've tried this two ways, because it is quite sticky with the honey. I'm going to take Mr. Boozy Baker's mug, and I've tried putting the cling film down and then pressing the mug on top. Actually, what I found worked best was just to cling film his mug. Nice square, like straight side, and I'm just going to put it on its side and just press down. Now, if you have any other techniques, feel free to share. But the base of this comes up, so it wouldn't press it down evenly for me. So I'm just going to go round my tin and pressing it right in and packing those oats down. Just changing the angle. Look, guys, this is one of the quickest workshops I think we've done. But these make really good snacks, and the consistency means that it's not too soft. They don't crumble, and you can easily just wrap them up in a little bit of foil or put them in a tub and take them with you, and they're a really good kind of energy snack. And so you can make them as naughty or as healthy as you want. But I know that I get the munchies, and actually to have one of these as my kind of 11s is quite good for me. I think I'm about there. I've got just in the corner. I can't quite reach that corner. So I'm just going to get a bit of the cling film, wrap it over my spoon. Don't like wasting. So I'm just going to put it over my spoon and just push down those corners, which I couldn't catch with the mug.
Leslie also said it was a great idea with the cling film and the cut.
You can't get a rolling pin in there anyway, and I've got a high-sided tin, so I do find sometimes it's the most basic equipment, or just being a little bit novel with it. I'll show you now. That's really packed in, so there's no. I looked at Mr. Boozy Baker's there. It's pretty much a slab now. You can't see so much texture, and all you need to do with that is put it in the fridge for a couple of hours, and then just slice it up, and then keep it in a tin, and you're well away. You can keep that for quite a while, and enjoy over the next week or so. But that's it in half an hour. In fact, not even that, because I was chatting for ages. You have a nice, easy, no-bake treat.
As Michelle said earlier, we have another YouTube video added this morning.
Yeah, gooey chocolate cookies is now on YouTube. They are delicious. We've had a lot of good feedback. If you go onto our Facebook page, you will see the feedback from people that did that workshop, and how cooking them from frozen, they've been delicious. So for people wanting to make things and pop them in the freezer, that is a very good one for that. So do head over to our YouTube channel and have a look for gooey chocolate cookies. We would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's really helpful for us, and it notifies you of all our upcoming or just put on workshops. And as I said, we'll be putting on one for profiteroles for next weekend. Please remember that we do have an online shop. You can buy our boozy marshmallows, cake slices, loaded cake boxes, which are amazing. It's kind of like a chill out on the sofa with Netflix and eat your loaded cake box full of gooey goodness. What else do we have? We've got cookies, brownies. So do have a look. We are at www.boozybakers.co.uk. And if you would like to order a recipe book, there are a number of our workshop recipes on there, and you can order that. It's Lockdown Baking with Boozy Bakers, and it's available on Amazon. So do have a look at that. Okay, I will say goodbye for now, and I will see you again soon. Thanks, guys.